Sports Talk. Let's go.
Hey, what's up, everyone? It's me, your boy Ryan Flowers, aka Clutch Sports Talk, and welcome to another edition of NFL Matchups. It's week 9, man. We got lots to talk about as usual. We're going to talk about some contenders midway through the season. I'm going to let you guys in on some thoughts in no particular order, but we'll break down some teams and let you know why they're contenders and what could possibly be holding them back. Staying along the lines of contenders, let's look at some MVP candidates, right? We're on MVP watch tonight on NFL Matchups. I'm going to be talking about some players. It's mostly quarterbacks, but not to surprise. There's probably one running back in there, and you probably know who he is, who was up there as one of the top candidates. And of course, it wouldn't be NFL Matchups if I did not break down every game and give you keys to victory for each team as we enter week 9. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. This is NFL Matchups with me, Ryan Flowers. You know what to do. Let's go.
We're going to be here all day, baby. I like this kind of party. Baby.
Hey, good evening, everyone. Hope you guys are doing all right. It's me, your boy, Ryan Flowers, a.k.a. Clutch Sports Talk, and welcome to a Week 9 edition of NFL Matchups. And as usual, before we get anything underway, make sure you check out the YouTube channel, like and subscribe to the videos, and make sure you drop a comment as well. And if you're watching this video live tonight, man, make sure you drop a comment. Let me know what's going on. What do you guys think so far as we approach Week 9 opening up this Thursday? So without further ado, man, let's just get straight into it. Let's look at some contenders. Now, I'm going to be talking about some teams, no specific order, but we're going to be breaking them down. I'm going to be telling you guys why I think they're contenders and what could possibly hold them back. And it's your job as the viewer is to chime in and let me know what you guys think on your end, right? So no particular order, like I said before. Let's start with the Indianapolis Colts. They have the best record in the league right now. I believe they're 7-1. Daniel Jones playing exceptionally well. Jonathan Taylor leading the league in rushing yards. The defense is looking pretty good. And let's talk about why I think they're contenders. Number one, their schedule is pretty fair the rest of the way. I mean, when you're playing in the AFC South, you may get a little pushback from the Texans, but you're playing the teams like, the Tennessee Titans. Who else is in the AFC South there with them? The Jacksonville Jaguars, who a lot of people thought were contenders, but I don't think they are. But overall, they have an explosive offense, and they've gotten off to a great start. So right now, 7-1. They're guaranteed to make the playoffs. Can they make a deep run? That remains to be seen. Now, what I think could hold them back is their lack of experience. Now, Daniel Jones, although he's been in the league for quite some time as a starting quarterback for the New York Giants, still limited as far as experience is concerned, and the rest of the team, including the head coach. Now, although the head coach does have some experience with the Philadelphia Eagles when he was a coordinator there, but overall as a team, I think inexperience could bring them back down to reality, especially if you're going to have to go on the road or possibly play a home game against a veteran-laden team such as like the Kansas City Chiefs, right, who are also on this list. So that's what I think about the Indianapolis Colts. So let me know what you think about that. Another AFC team, we're going to head out west, is the Denver Broncos. Now, put a shellacking on my Cowboys this past weekend. Bo Nix looking pretty good. Defense, right? Obviously, they're getting after it on both. They own the trenches. When you play the Denver Broncos, understand that their goal on defense is to own you and beat you up in the trenches, and they're doing that. It's even on offense. I mean, not to even shy away from the offense. Their offensive line is getting after it too as well. But although this is the one thing I will say about the Broncos. They've gotten away with some wins here. Now their schedule is going to get a little bit more tough. But you just beat the Cowboys, who you should have beaten. They went on the road and beat the Eagles in a come from behind win. Who they got the Giants in a come from behind win. So those are games they possibly could have lost. Even a close game overseas in London, I believe it was London, against the hapless Jets. So they won those games, but I'm still not sold all the way. And I'm not saying that because they beat the doors off my Cowboys. But if you look at them, a lot of people are going to say a hot take and say that they're a strong team. I'm not saying that they're not good, but they still give me a little bit of reservation, especially down the stretch when they start to play formidable teams. So that's something we're going to have to be on the lookout for them as the season progresses, as they make their way towards the playoffs. Okay, the next team, Philadelphia Eagles, the defending Super Bowl champs. They have a strong core. You got Saquon Barkley, Jalen Hurts, A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, offense galore. Defense, little bit less desired this year. Obviously, Jalen Carter is probably their best defensive player. Secondary is a little suspect, so that they could be had. But overall, the Eagles, to me, they find ways to keep winning, and you can't knock that at the end of the day. Whether it's the tush push, whether it's 1 week Jalen Hurts is throwing for 300 yards, 5 touchdowns, or whatever it is that he's doing, or even this past weekend, Saquon Barkley got off a little bit, which he hasn't been able to do. And that's what's so scary about them, is because they haven't been as consistent this year. And who knows, with halfway through the year, they could catch fire, and you never know, man. They could go on a tear. They're still top of the division there. One of the best teams in the NFC, probably with the Lions. So those are one of my contenders there. Now, speaking of the Lions, that's another team I want to talk about. The Detroit Lions. Listen, this team on paper, super talented. Offense, great. Quarterback play, decent. Wide receivers, solid. Even guys like Amon St. Brown, and then you got J-Mo. Of course, we got to talk about the running back there and Jahmyr Gibbs. So defense, they're a little banged up in the secondary, and that could prove to be kind of costly down the stretch, especially if you're going to be going up against teams that have a potent offensive or passing game, right? So that, for me, gives me a little cause for concern. I do love the culture that Dan Campbell has built there. Even losing coordinators, this team is still looking very, very solid, especially last week. I believe it was Monday or Thursday, whenever they last played against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They were running up and down the field. So that gives me some good confidence in them. So still one of the better teams, if not the best team in the NFC. Well, I bet you Green Bay will have something to say about that. But overall, for me, the concerns would be probably injuries down the stretch. This happened to them last year, and it could kind of present itself again as we move forward, moving on into the rest of the season. So, all right, moving on. We got the LA Rams. LA Rams out of the NFC West. Listen, great quarterback, head coach combination. Sean McVay, one of the most talented head coaches we have in the league today. He gets it better. He gets it done better than anybody else. Matthew Stafford, still playing at a high level, even the injuries and the age. He's finding guys like Puka Nacua. He's connecting that, building and establishing that relationship with Devontae Adams, and the running game with Kyren Williams is pretty solid as well. Offensive line is pretty okay. Defense is where they're going to hang their hat on, I think, for me, if they're going to make a deep run. And I think the biggest concern for me with the Rams, though, overall is the health of the quarterback, right? Matthew Stafford is going to be the catalyst for them moving forward. If he's good to go, he's healthy to an extent, this team can go far in the playoffs. We saw that they could push the Philadelphia Eagles to the brink of elimination last year, and then a close game that they lost to them earlier this season. And we saw what happened in the playoffs last year. That was probably the most formidable game the Eagles had all playoffs. So this is a team that can do that, especially on the defensive side. They can get it done. Guys like Jared Verse can get after the quarterback. Now, staying in the NFC, I want to talk about the Green Bay Packers. They will have a lot to say in regards to what the Detroit Lions will do. One thing I do like about the Packers, they have a young, talented offense led by Jordan Love, right? Jordan Love, I know a lot of people are kind of up and down with him, and he does have his moments where he looks really like mediocre or basic, and then he has nights like Sunday when he tore up the Pittsburgh Steelers defense. So you don't know what you're getting, but you look at the repertoire that he has around him. You guys got Christian Watson when he's helped, Romeo Doubs, the tight end, Taylor Kraft, guys like that. Now, if Josh Jacobs can get running the ball a little bit better, they'll even be more formidable. And then not to mention that pass rush, right? The defense is still a little inconsistent for me, although they do have big names, but still a little inconsistent. I want to see more from the defense as well, especially when they start to play other playoff type teams. But to me, that could hold them back is the fact that Jordan Love sometimes plays inconsistent. And we've seen that in playoff games, but then we've seen the opposite of him. So for me, I want to see him a little bit more consistent. And then this team they'll be up there. I mean, they can challenge. They got the offense to challenge other teams, but can they be consistent overall in the end? So what do you guys think so far? Let me know. We got the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, right? This is one of my other favorite teams I like to watch. Baker Mayfield, one of the MVP candidates on my list tonight. We'll talk about him. I love the way they play defense. Todd Bowles, it didn't work out for him as a head coach in New York. He came down to Tampa Bay, and now look, this team is hitting on all cylinders. I love the offense. I love the way the defense is playing, but in the end, injuries and depth is going to be a cause for concern for me, and that would hold them back. Right now, Baker Mayfield, although they just recently won against the New Orleans Saints, it's the New Orleans Saints. I mean, most of us could probably line up against the Saints and probably beat them at this point. But Tampa Bay Buccaneers, you got Mike Evans out for extended a period of time, right, with the broken clavicle, I think it was, or collarbone. Emeka Ibuka out hamstring. Chris Godwin out. Bucky Irving out, right? So these are weapons. Like, they're so unique that they have 3 different wide receivers that do 3 different kinds of things. I mean, no one expected Emeka Ibuka to be what he is today. I mean, unless you know him like that. But if those guys cannot be healthy in some form of combination, that's going to be something that I think is going to hold them back. So injuries and depth is a cause of concern for me in the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. But nonetheless, I still think they're contenders. Now, Kansas City Chiefs put a butt whipping last night on the Washington Commanders. What I love about the Chiefs is that they're getting everybody back, right? Rice is back, right? Hollywood Brown playing really good. Juju Smith-Schuster, right? You got Xavier Worthy, right? Travis Kelce looking like the former Travis Kelce, right? Not saying he's still like this elite type of tight end, but with the other guys stretching the field, opening up the middle, he's able to maneuver, and that's what he does best. He's still a very smart individual on the field. His football IQ was up there. I think what was happening when guys like Rice and Worthy were out, teams were able to just kind of muck up the middle of the field. And now you're seeing that the defenses are having to spread out a little bit more. It's allowing those passing lanes and those opportunities for Travis Kelce to do his thing and maneuver, right? He had a phenomenal night last night. Cause for concern for me, though, with the actual Chiefs is that the defense, which is kind of weird because they've been able to hang their hats on their defense. Biggest concern for me with their defense is the secondary. It's not as strong as it used to be. And as well, on top of that, the injuries through the linebacking core could be something that could present itself as a problem as they move throughout the playoffs. Now, lucky for them, the AFC to me is not that strong. There's really probably 1 or 2 other teams maybe that maybe could challenge them depending on where you are. But overall, when you look at the Kansas City Chiefs, by far probably the odds-on favorite to make it back to the Super Bowl because you understand that Patrick Mahomes can play anywhere. We've seen that in recent playoffs. So, but again, injuries and the secondary not being as strong as it used to be could be a problem for them moving forward. Now, staying with the AFC, the other team who I think could contest, and they got a big matchup this weekend, we'll talk about that here later on in the show, is the Buffalo Bills, right? Why they're contenders? Pretty much simple. Josh Allen. And that's pretty much it. Now, he does have a decent supporting cast like James Cook, Dalton Kincaid, Keon Coleman, who really isn't like a number 1 wide receiver. He's just a guy that's there, can go up and make a play every now and then. But this offense runs through Josh Allen and nobody else. Every now and then you'll get a James Cook sighting, and he's playing pretty good too. I'm not going to do too much shade on the guy. But overall, Josh Allen is the catalyst for this particular team. And that's also the weakness and why I feel like this could hold them back, because if you're playing another team that has a really good defense, their offense can be very stagnant. Do we believe that the Buffalo Bills can score at the rate of some of these other teams, the way the Colts are playing? Sometimes the Broncos can go. We all know that the Chiefs now are hitting on all cylinders offensively. Can the Bills go out and on the road, if they have to in a playoff game, and score 28, 30 points to be in that game? I don't think they can. So for them, they're going to have to try to somehow get back in this race. Well, they're not far out of it, but get or seize home field advantage. That's number 1. And they're going to have to kind of keep the scoring down, or keep the scoring low, and give yourself a shot, right? And another thing with them too is turnovers. And this boils with it kind of talks to more about Josh Allen, right? Inconsistent, turning over the ball in the red zone, but turnovers in general, he has a propensity of doing that. So those are my cause for concerns for me and the Buffalo Bills. And the final team I do want to bring up is the Seattle Seahawks. Now, a lot of people not mentioning them because they play in the Pacific Northwest, but their offense is pretty explosive. And it's improving every year, and their defense is not too bad. The way they get after the quarterback defensively with not having to blitz so much is such a commodity that most defensive coordinators will tell you That's what you want. You don't want to necessarily have to blitz. Mike McDonald has invested in his defensive line, and you're seeing it time and time again this particular season, and that's a big thing for them. Now, reasons why I have some cause for concern, or reasons why I think they can be held back a little bit. They're playing a tough division, right? I didn't include the Niners on this list just because injuries. I don't think they can overcome that, right? But it's still a tough division. You still got to face the Niners. You still got to play the Rams. Arizona on any given Sunday could beat this team, right? I mean, it just how it goes in this particular division. And all offensive line struggles. Now, they've been okay, but I still am a little bit worried about their offensive line and as well as their third down conversions rate. They have not been able to convert on third down as best as I would like them to do, because most really good teams do. You go back into history and you look at really solid teams that have been Super Bowl winning champions or Super Bowl contending teams. Most of them, a majority of them, rely on third down, and they're able to convert that third down in order to keep the chains moving and keep their offense on the field. So that's my list. I said no particular order. Let me know if I'm missing somebody. Some of you might throw out the Pittsburgh Steelers. No, I'm not really feeling the Pittsburgh Steelers, if I'm keeping it honest. Another big glaring one is the New England Patriots. Nice story. They've benefited from a really easy schedule. But I don't think that they're contenders out the way. I think Drake May, really nice year. They're 6-2 or something like that. But for me, I don't. They're kind of like the Broncos a little bit. But the reason why I put the Broncos on the list is because that defense is elite when they get their act together, right? They're elite. I can't really pinpoint, and I guess again, I don't really watch a lot of New England Patriots football, but just from what I can see and just my eye test is that they're not elite. They're just doing things very well. Where some of these teams, or majority of the teams on this list, they are elite at something, right? And what are the Patriots elite at? Let me know in the comment section if I'm off with that. So that's my list in no particular order. We got the Colts, Broncos, Philadelphia, Green Bay, the Rams, Tampa, Chiefs, and Buffalo Bills, and then Seattle Seahawks rounding out my list. But again, no particular order. And let me know what you guys think in the comment section. All right. Woo! I'm keeping it moving on this fine Tuesday evening. All right. MVP watch, right? Again, no particular order. We're going to talk about some quarterbacks. I mean, because really, that's really who controls this. So it's like the Heisman MVP. It's a quarterback award at the end of the day. Now, there is one guy out there, and you guys all know who it is, but we won't start with him. We'll leave him a little bit later down the line here. But I will start with Patrick Mahomes. Okay, 18 total touchdowns, 1,800 yards passing on the season so far. After starting 0-2, they've been able to battle back. Right, some big wins. They have a really big one this weekend against the Buffalo Bills. If they win that, it kind of puts them in the driver's seat, in my opinion. And I'm not a Chiefs owner. I know I'm wearing red tonight, but at the end of the day, Patrick Mahomes has been able to find ways to win. Keep it a buck, right? So he's one of those guys up there. Josh Allen, of course, you got to put him up there. He's the reigning MVP. He's got 12 touchdowns, 5 rushing, 12 passing, 5 rushing, about 1,500 yards through the air. Again, he is what makes the Buffalo Bills go. All right, there's no doubt about that. He is the guy. Drake May, I will give him some love here today, although I don't think that they're one of the contending teams. But in his second year as an NFL starter, the guy's only put up over 2,000 yards, 17 total touchdowns. And listen, big win on the road against Buffalo a couple weeks ago. I believe it was Sunday Night Football. The guy's playing really well, so I got to give him some love there. Overall, I'm not in love with the team, but I do feel like he's playing at an MVP kind of level right now. Baker Mayfield, before all the injuries on the wide receiving core, was playing at an MVP level. I think he's going to drop down just a little bit now, just because who's he throwing to? Like guys like Tez Johnson, like who is that, right? I mean, for us who know him, we know him, but most people don't know who he is. What can he do now? If he comes out this next couple weeks and just lights it up, then he's back in the race, right? But he's in there. I think I'm not going to call him out all the way, but I think he's still in there. Matthew Stafford, the old man on the list here, playing really good ball right now. When Puka Nacua was out, him and Devontae Adams did not miss a beat. He's got 17 touchdowns, over 1,800 yards, blowout wins against Jacksonville. They are doing their thing. They are doing their thing, and I like Matthew Stafford. Jared Goff, former Ram quarterback. 15 touchdowns, over 1,600 yards. Good complete win last week where he went 20 for 29 against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers for over 240 yards and a touchdown, right? Solid performance for him. So I think he's up there. Daniel Jones, got to give him some love. The guy that pretty much everyone wrote off, including myself. I didn't think he could play, but he's resubmerged as one of the better guys in the league. I mean, listen, the team is 7-1, right? Over 2,000 yards passing, 17 touchdowns up until now, and you got one of the best teams in the National Football League. I think that deserves a nod for an MVP candidacy, and not to mention on the in his backfield, Jonathan Taylor. Jonathan Taylor leads the league in NFL rushing yards at 850 yards, as well as touchdowns. He has 12 touchdowns for all rushing touchdowns. He's the only guy that's not a quarterback on this particular list, but rightfully so. I mean, he's having a fantastic year so far, and it's good to see because there was a point in time where he won out of Indianapolis not that long ago for those who remember. So good for him. And then a sleeper, a guy who I think maybe could kind of turn some heads if he can be a little bit consistent. I mentioned him earlier just now in the contender check segment, is Jordan Love. If this guy can play consistent enough football the way he played the other night, look out. He's got the talent. He got 1,700 yards throwing and 13 touchdowns on 2 picks. That's pretty good. And on one of the better teams in the National Football League. So let me know what you guys think. I think me personally, if I had a vote today, I probably would go with either Jonathan Taylor or Patrick Mahomes. Simple as that. Because those two guys are Josh Allen, yes, is important to his team. All these guys are important, but Patrick Mahomes, man, the amount of pressure that he's under, and I know people will say, oh, well, they get all the calls, they're cheaters, blah, 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 blah. Man, but when you break it down, man, and look at how they conduct themselves, Patrick Mahomes, man, is legit. And then Jonathan Taylor, listen, the Colts have been a laughing stock. They've been up and down. And then, they went ahead and took a gamble on Anthony Richardson. That's not going to work out. But then they take a flyer out on Daniel Jones, and look what's happening for them right now. Have the best record in the National Football League, but my money would be either Jonathan Taylor or Patrick Mahomes. So let me know what you guys think in the comment section. Who do you think should be, or did I miss someone on our MVP watch going into Week 9 the season? All right. Let's get into the business of why we're here. It's NFL matchups. It wouldn't be NFL matchups if I didn't break down some games and give you guys the betting lines, some keys to victory for both teams as we begin this Thursday. Ravens at Dolphins on Thursday Night Football. Baltimore coming off a pretty good win. I thought they would win this past weekend. I didn't think that they would lose that game, if I'm being completely honest with you. Baltimore Ravens, although not having a great year, they got pride. They got pride, man. And I think putting Huntley back in over Cooper Rush is a better fit, I would say. I don't know, was Cooper Rush even hurt? I don't know why he wasn't playing, but Huntley is better for sure. He's a poor man's Lamar Jackson, and that's how that offense is geared off of that type of style of quarterback play. But nonetheless, Baltimore -7.5, over under is 50.5. Keys to victory for the Baltimore Ravens. We'll start with them. It's pretty simple, man. Dominate the run game, dominate the trenches with Huntley. If he's starting, it could be Lamar Jackson. We'll see. It is a short week, but dominate the line of scrimmage and protect the quarterback, whoever that may be. As far as the Dolphins are concerned, who are, a touchdown and a half dogs, force turnovers. You're going to have to find ways to force turnovers, get explosive plays. Tua looked pretty good last week with the visor. I guess something was wrong with his eye. Maybe that needs to happen every week for him to play better. And then there's special teams. Either, if you have opportunities to kick field goals, get off the field, get the 3 points, punting, kickoff returns, all that. You want to limit the Ravens in as much as possible when they have the ball offensively. But overall, I do like the Ravens at home. Maybe I don't like the point spread, but if I were to bet this game, I might just do the money line if I'm doing this one, okay? All right, Bears and Bengals. Bears on the road, they're favored at -2.5. Over under is 52.5. Bengals are cooked. Season's done. I mean, they tried the Joe Flacco thing. It didn't really work out, or it's not going to work out. They do this to themselves every year, and unfortunately, Joe Burrow can't stay healthy. I think we're coming to the point where number one, this Scott, what's his name, Zach Taylor's probably going to be out of here, and whoever comes in, you're going to have to probably draft another quarterback here. I think they're at that point there. But as far as the game is concerned, Bears pressure Joe Flacco, get after him, create turnovers. He's 40-some years old. Get after him. Okay, Bengals, exploit some mismatches. You do have some talented wideouts in T. Higgins and Jamar Chase, so you're gonna have to find those mismatches where you can and exploit the Bears defense, which is possible, which is definitely possible. At -2.5, although I don't like the rest of the outcome of the season for the Cincinnati Bengals, their defense is kind of atrocious too. I'm gonna go with Chicago on this one. My gut is telling me go with Chicago. My heart is like you should probably go with the Bengals, but I'm gonna go with my gut. Although I'm not loving Caleb Williams either, not playing that great either, but I'm gonna go with the Bears at -2.5 to cover. All right, Vikings at Lions. This on paper should have been a really big matchup, but Carson Wentz out for the year. He wasn't playing that great anyway. JJ McCarthy comes back into play. Not a big fan of him either. I feel like they're probably looking themselves in the mirror like, damn, we probably should have paid Sam Darnold at this point. But Detroit is -8.5, over under 47.5. Lions continue to convert explosive plays because you have explosive type players in Jamar Gibbs, Jameson Williams continue to do that and control the clock, even in the run game with Jahmyr Gibbs, right? And Montgomery. So Vikings, I don't know, man. It's going to have to start on the defense. Brian Flores and his defense is going to have to carry this team because McCarthy cannot carry this team at all. So if you're the Vikings, shorten the game. Get off the field on third down. Limit the big plays, right? Limit these big explosive plays, especially because they're going to be at home. They're going to be at home. The Lions are. You don't want to get that crowd going because if they get going, the onslaught will continue. In the end, though, I do like the Detroit Lions to cover this game. Something about it. The Vikings are going to play hard. They're going to be valiant, but the offense won't be able to get anything done. And I think that the Detroit offense is just going to be a little bit much to handle for the Minnesota Vikings. So I'm taking them to cover at -8.5. Got a big part. This is the second to biggest spread of the week. We got Panthers at Packers. Packers -12.5 at home. 44.5 is the over-under. Packers attack through the air and force turnovers. Not sure what the status of Bryce Young is, but it doesn't matter. I think that hold on. They just played already. This is not correct. They just played already. My notes are correct, but all right, we'll get back to that one. Chargers at Titans. That's up to date. I don't know why the Panthers and Packers are playing again, but I don't know. Anyway, all right. Chargers at Titans. -10.5. What is that? Titans are the dogs, which they should be at home. So Chargers going to Nashville, taking the flight. Pretty good, solid win last week. When we last time, I believe it was last week Thursday, or was it last week Thursday they played? Yeah, it was last week Thursday. That's the last time we saw them against Minnesota. I forgot. Chargers, listen, get Herbert going early. You're not playing a really good team. You're just not. You're not playing a good team, so you should be able to take advantage of that easily, in my opinion. Hold on one second here. You got any comments? No, we're good. Hold on one second. All right. Yeah, so, as far as the Titans are concerned, this team is not good. This team is not good. So, although, I'm not a big fan of West Coast teams traveling to the Eastern time zone, it causes a little bit of lag. And the Chargers have been kind of back and forth all over the place, going to New York, going overseas and coming back home. And so that could wear on them a little bit. 10.5 is a pretty large spread, I would say. But fuck it. I like the Chargers -10.5. All right. We got Falcons at the Patriots. This is a big game for the Atlanta Falcons, right? I've been on record telling people, I don't know if I said it last week, I am not a fan of the Atlanta Falcons. I didn't think that they're that good. Now they have the potential to be good, but I don't think they have the right head coach. Michael Penix Jr., he's okay. He's okay. He could be a little bit better. Now, Kirk Cousins, he had an opportunity last week to plant his flag, but didn't. But now they got to go on the road to Foxborough. New England is -5.5. Over under is 44.5. Patriots, just protect your young quarterback. Continue to protect him, and he'll be able to distribute the football the way he needs to guys like Stephon Diggs. As such, right? As far as the Falcons are concerned, you're going to have to play good defense, man. You're going to have to play good defense and establish the run game. You have Bijan Robinson. Use him. Utilize him. He's one of the better running backs in the National Football League. I just don't get I don't get these guys. I don't understand why they don't continue to do that as more. Feed this guy. He should be touching the ball 25, 30 times a game, whether it's in the run game or the passing game. Simple as that. Simple as that. And in defense, create some turnovers. That's the only way you're going to have a chance. I do like the Patriots to win this game at home. Maybe not. Maybe I think it'll be a little bit closer because, Atlanta, although they do have the firepower to stay in games, I do like New England, though, to win this game on the money line, so I'm going with them. I got 49ers at the Giants. 49ers -2.5 road favorites. 49ers, not a good win last week. Not a good performance last week against Houston on the road. Injuries starting to catch up to them. This is a well-coached team. There's no doubt about that. I think they had a relapse a little bit. I think they bounced back a little bit today. Unfortunately for the Giants, no more Cam Scatterboo. He's out for the year. That little momentum they kind of had going with him and Jackson Dart. The Giants, I will say this. It's going to be a close game because the defense is going to keep them in it. But at the end of the day, whoever's the quarterback for the 49ers, whether it's Mac Jones or Brock Purdy, I still think they get it done. However, though, if I was to bet this game, I probably would go +2.5 with the Giants, although I think the 49ers are going to win this game. All right, let's see. We got Colts at the Steelers. Colts, our favorite, -3.5 on the road, heading to Pittsburgh. As far as the Colts are concerned, listen, what's the over on this one? 49.5. That's pretty large, I would say. As far as Colts, though, establish the run. Keep establishing the run. You got the best running back in the game right now, Jonathan Taylor. And on defense, make the Steelers one-dimensional. Whether it's forcing Aaron Rodgers to just keep throwing, that's fine because he's 40-something years old. He's probably going to give you one or two at some point. All right. As far as the Steelers are concerned, you're going to have to find a way to own the trenches because if the Colts come in with the mindset of trying to run the football, they're going to have to control the front seven, meaning the trenches, and try to dominate that to limit Jonathan Taylor's effect on the game and forcing Daniel Jones to maybe be more of a prominent role in the game. However, though, I do like the Colts on the road to get the win. They're well coached. They're well balanced. To me, the Steelers, they're lacking something on offense for sure. That's why I thought this was a little high at 49.5. But I do like the Colts in this game. All right, Broncos at Texans. Houston opening up at -1.5. Over under 39.5. Pretty low here. Listen, Texans, you're at home coming off a really good win against the 49ers. You're going to have to continue that momentum. Utilize field position if you can. That's going to be key for them. And you're going to have to rely on your defense to get after Bo Nix a little bit here. One thing the Texans can do is get after the quarterback. Guys like Will Anderson, Danielle Hunter, they can get after it. So that's kind of bodes in their favorite as well. Broncos, you're going to have to get steady play from Bo Nix, right? Again, I'm not like this big Bo Nix fan. I think he's good, but I don't know, man. I got to see a little bit more from him before I can say anything. Is he elite? No, he's not elite. He's still a young guy in this league, but he's improving. He's won some big games on the road. But I don't know. I don't think they get it. As far as the Texans, I don't think they get it done. I'm probably going to go on the upset here as far as the lines are concerned. I'm going to go with the Broncos +1.5, or you can take them straight up on the money line. Okay. Jaguars at Raiders. Guess what, Raider fans? Excuse me one second. They did not lose this past week. Why? Because they were on a bye week. But To keep it short and sweet, Jacksonville is favored at -3.5. They'll cover this game. The Raiders are not a good football team. And if Geno Smith is starting a quarterback, you can expect a lot of turnovers from this team. They can't establish a run. They have no offensive threat. The defense is it's mid at best. I like the Jaguars to come into Las Vegas and beat the Raiders straight up on this one. Okay. Saints at Rams, the biggest spread of the week. Rams -13.5. I think the Rams should be able to dominate the line of scrimmage very early and often in this game. They will limit the Saints' possessions because they're going to take away from them. This defense is really good. Tyler Show is going to get the start for the New Orleans Saints. What can I say? Not a lot going for the Saints. Not a lot going for the Saints. So if they have any chance, they're going to have to create some turnovers and manufacture some really long drives in order to keep guys like Matthew Stafford, Puka Nacua, Devontae Adams off the field. But in the end, I kind of like the Rams to cover this one at -13.5. It's basically 2 touchdowns. But if anyone can do it, I think the Rams could do that. All right, Kansas City, this is the big one. Probably the biggest game of the weekend. Chiefs at Bills. Kansas City opened up at -1.5 road favorites, 51.5 over and under. It's pretty simple for me for the Chiefs. Continue to play the type of offensive football that they're doing, being well balanced, running the football. And another thing about the Chiefs, they can throw to their running backs, guys like Pacheco, Kareem Hunt. We saw last night. They are very effective in the passing game. Defense, the good thing for them is that the Bills don't have a true number one, in my opinion, on the receiving side. So they can probably contain them. As far as the Bills are concerned, you're going to have to get after Mahomes. You're going to have to find ways to pressure him, and they're going to have to keep the receivers contained. You cannot let guys like Rice get big plays. You can't let guys like Worthy outrun your defense, and you're going to have to find a way to cut off the middle of the field with Travis Kelce. Easier said than done. I like the Chiefs to go on the road. Not an upset. I don't think it's an upset, but I like them to cover at -1.5 and beat the Buffalo Bills. All right, Seahawks at Commanders. Seattle opening up at -3.5 road favorites. Couple of road favorites this week. Obviously, we saw what happens to Commanders. If Jaden Daniels does not play, they're pretty much cooked, as the kids would say. They're pretty much cooked. Over under is 45.5. Seattle, just, if it's Marcus Mariota back there, they should be able to get after him rather easily, I would say, and continue to execute big plays down the field with the JSN. And I love the running game that the Seattle Seahawks have. As far as the Commanders are concerned, they're going to have to put it on their defense. I don't see the offense being or getting any type of traction if Jaden Daniels is not playing. If he is, it's a little bit different. But if he's not, I don't. The Deebo Samuel thing really, to me, has not worked out. I know that they made a play for him. He's been there. It's not saying he's been bad, but it just hasn't worked out the way it probably Commander fans probably hoped it would. And they're not really having a good season at this point. So this is a big game for them. But I just don't see them getting it done, unfortunately. And that's a Sunday night game, if I'm not mistaken, too, right? Yeah, it is. So, all right. But in the end, I like Seattle to win this game going away. I'll take the points on that -3.5. And finally, to wrap up the week, the Arizona Cardinals head to they play? I guess they play in Dallas, but Fort Worth, Texas, to take on my Dallas Cowboys. Cowboys, listen, they needed to come back home, lick their wounds a little bit. They just couldn't get it done against the Broncos. Their defense is terrible. Over under is 54.5. Take it. I mean, I've literally bet the Cowboys almost every week on the over and under, and it's hit for me because his defense is so terrible. Now, they should be getting some guys back from injury, but it's not going to make much of a difference. The scheme is shit. You have some terrible guys that can't tackle, like Kenneth Murray, Sam Williams. Where the hell you been? Guys that they were expected to step up haven't been. Trayvon Diggs, he might still be hurt or doing concussion protocol. How the hell he cared? I don't know. I don't want to know what happened to him. Why he got a concussion at home? Who knows? Dak and the offense is the only light at the end of this tunnel. George Pickens, oddly enough, I had some criticism for him. I didn't think he was going to be mature, but he's playing really good football. He's being a really exceptional teammate this year. And that combination between CeeDee Lamb and George Pickens and the run game, Javonte Williams is playing well, but the defense just can't get it done. Now, as far as the keys to victory, the offense just have to score 500 points. I mean, as simple as that. They just have to score 500 points and not turn the ball over. And they're going to have to exploit some matchups, which they have the favorite in that, I would say. Cardinals control the clock. Keep the ball out of Dak Prescott and the offensive hands, and you might have a chance there. But overall, this is going to be a close game. This is going to be a close game. Not sure who's starting, if it's Kyler Murray or Brissett. Brissett looks actually better than Kyler Murray, if I'm not mistaken. But this is going to be a close game. I still like the Cowboys to win. I think they're going to outlast the Cardinals. This is going to be a total of at least 60 points or above. I'm putting it out there right now. So, and I'm not picking the Cowboys just because I'm a Cowboys fan. I just think they'll have a little bit more offense in the end, and they might have the ball last to win this game. And I like their chances. So I'm going to go with the Dallas Cowboys to win and cover at -2.5 there. So, all right, there you go. Those are my keys to victory and the preview of every game in week 9 of the National Football League. Love it. Write it down. Look at it. Go back and watch the replay. Whatever you got to do, go and do it. But before I get out of here, man, I just on a more somber note, condolences and prayers goes out to Nick Mangold and his family. The long all-pro, all everything for the New York Football Jets passed away over the weekend, I believe, to some type of kidney disease. During his reign there, this was like during the Rex Ryan reign. Nick Mangold was probably the most prominent player on that team. Obviously Mark Sanchez was around there, but not for good reasons, but he was the catalyst of that team. And what it hits me because it's like, he's like my age. He's born like 83, 84. Unfortunately, he did have kidney disease, but it really hits home when a guy like that who's young passes away. And obviously we heard the story of Rex Ryan, what he said on Sunday morning, how it was like his last game, and Nick Mangold went up to him, and who was injured at the time, said, "Man, I'm going to suit up because I want to play for you one last time." It just speaks to the kind of character that he was, or he had, and the kind of guy he was. From what I understand, is well liked around the league, within his team, within the organization itself. So, thoughts and prayers go out to Nick Mangold and his family. Definitely, we lost a good one. Definitely should be a first ballot Hall of Fame. If he's not in the Hall of Fame, I don't know if he is or not, but definitely should be. So that's a loss. That's a loss for the community for sure. So, all right, CJ Smooth, get out of here. He's got these damn birds going. What is this one? Oh, what is it? Oh, it's like little doves. Okay, well, shout out to him. So, but yeah. All right, man. Well, that's all I got, man. Hopefully we will be back next week, Tuesday, depending on my schedule. But other than that, enjoy Thursday night games and enjoy all the other matchups going into week 9 in the National Football League. I am your boy, Ryan Flowers, a.k.a. Clutch Sports Talk, wrapping up another edition of NFL Matchups. Like I always say, never settle till the work is done. We'll see you guys next week. Peace out, guys.
Clutch Sports Talk. Let's go.